All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to call it 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. In fact, I might even have to guess, I might even have to say, it's a Happy New Year for our UK type folks. I'm not sure if we've got any UK type folks in the house yet, because I have been doing other things and stuff, basically being late. I mean, it was stuff for this, but let's see who's in the chat, and let's see if it is time to wish anybody a Happy New Year. All right, we've got Darlene coming in, 3-month subscription, gift subscription, courtesy of Rick. Thank you so much, Rick, for the multiple month subscription in a row. Darlene has been doing it, been getting those gifts for almost 4 years now. And happy 2026 to Mad Statter and Chatter crew. That's exactly right. We've got Elaine coming in saying aloha. And let's see here who else we've got. We've got Penel coming in saying aloha. We've got Rick saying aloha. We've got everybody here like the usuals. Although I'm not seeing our UK contingent, which means they might be busy in a game of Uno that will be over whenever Uno decides it to be over. Let's see here who else we get in the house. We've got eMusic in the house saying aloha, everybody. And let's see here. Here we go. Here is our UK contingent. I believe it is truly a Happy New Year already over there. So happy 2026 for those in Scotland and other parts of the UK. Let's see here. Penel writes things, says aloha to Ashes, Dusty, and Leo. Penel, I still have not seen Leo in a little bit, but we've got Ashes right here within arm's reach. I will let her be for a little while, but we'll see if I force her into a cameo. I think I will. And all right, let's see here who else we get. Looks like those are all the peoples and the folks in the house so far. So you did your cleaning. Good for you. I did not. That's actually usually what I do on the day on New Year's Day. Sure, you're supposed to greet the new year with a clean house. I understand, but well, I don't. All right then. So let's see here. We've got Blessed Chica coming in. Aloha Kako dropping in while you do your baking. Perfect time, Blessed Chica, to do that. I can tell you all that Pecola T is probably not going to be here tonight. She is celebrating the holidays at home in Honolulu, but she has a ton of family that are literally invading her house. About 15 minutes ago, she dropped me a note saying, family's here. Probably going to be missing your stream because I have to go socialize. So she's busy being social, and it looks as though I have someone who's almost willing to be social. So hold on one second while I invade some spaces. And is it a good luck to see a black cat on New Year's Eve? Is it good luck to see a black cat? If it is, you got your good luck. You got your good luck for your New Year's Eve. If that's good luck, we're going to say it's good luck. In the Chatterbox world, a black cat on New Year's Eve is always good luck. I have declared it. We have declared it. It has been declared. And let's see here. Fireworks in Edinburgh on New Year's Eve. Not a bad plan. I don't know if Seattle's doing fireworks this year or if they're doing their drone show. I think they're doing a drone show. And I can appreciate the switch over pollution-wise and noise pollution-wise, but at the same time, I would rather have the fireworks during the wet, rainy season, and then let's do the drones during 4th of July, shall we? I'm not sure what they're doing. I just know that the needle is being set up for some sort of brouhaha this evening. All right, so let's see here. It looks like Penel and I are on the same page. It's good luck to see a black cat anytime. Exactly. So let's get the party started, and then we will continue to talk about fireworks. All right, let's do it. All right, and Terry coming in with, in Scotland, it's good luck that the person through your door, that the first person through your door has dark, on New Year's, after New Year's, has dark hair. This comes from the days when Vikings turned up with bad luck. That is exactly true. Oh wait, Nani Aloha's here? Did I miss that? Aloha, Nani, if I missed you. Did I miss Nani? Well, I don't know if I missed Nani or not, and I hope I didn't, but aloha, Nani, if you're here. Anyway, back to the dark-haired Scottish dude. My grandpa, Fred Wilson, he was... Oh, she's Blessed Chica! Oh, awesome! Well, then I guess I did miss her, but I didn't at the same time. All right, so my grandpa, he was... Oh, there she is in all her real blessed name glory. So my grandpa, Fred Wilson, he had dark brown, almost black hair. And so he was the most popular person at all of the Scottish New Year's Eve celebrations. And he would go from door to door to door to door just to be the first person through the door on New Year's Eve. And of course, with every door that you go through, there is a toast to be had. So needless to say, my grandpa on New Year's Eve, well, he was a Scot. He could do it. And I'll tell you what, he did it year after year, and I'll bet you he even did it on days that there weren't New Year's to be celebrated. Yeah, when he eventually moved to Canada, he became the gentleman. I don't know what exact legal structure they had, but basically all of the booze in the city of Vancouver went through my grandpa. And I don't mean that literally, although in a way I do mean that literally. But he was in charge of, like, all the booze. So, needless to say, he was a fan of having a toast. But, yeah, gets a toast. Yeah, the first footer gets a toast in every house. Exactly. And like I said, yeah, my grandpa, he knew how to drink to a toast. And you know, the funny thing is I think there's a Hank Williams Jr. song about that. Something about a family tradition. But, you know, we're not going to get into that. And we're not talking about toast right now. We're talking about fireworks. And I am very curious to see, how the fireworks laws are going to be upheld in Honolulu this year. Because, as I think we all know, just because fireworks are illegal doesn't mean fireworks don't happen. All right, so I copped this from I got this from from YouTube a couple days ago, and this is a little news clip from Hawaii about, they're hoping to get their act together, right? Let's see. There have been laws that have been changed, and some of the laws that were changed makes me think, well, what was the law before if this is what it is now? But we're going to talk about that after the clip. Here we go. Boop.
Well, New Year's Eve just a few days away, and government agencies are hoping it'll look and sound a lot different here on Oahu this year. Lawmakers passed a number of tougher fireworks laws after that deadly Aliumanu explosion that left 6 people dead and dozens injured. And law enforcement agencies are now warning that using fireworks could result in jail time. Nikki Schenfeld tonight with our top story.
As Oahu gets ready to ring in the new year, city and state leaders are sending a clear message. Illegal fireworks will not be tolerated.
I've asked them to drop the hammer. I want to be aggressive. In fact, I want to go so far as exposing the people who we do arrest. And maybe a lot of shame with that, but you know, at the end of the day, they're breaking the law and taking others' safety into their own hands.
Last year's Aliumanu explosion is still under investigation. The tragedy led to major changes in the law, including strengthening penalties and making firework enforcement easier for police.
It's not cultural anymore. I want to repeat that. This is not a cultural practice. This is people involved in illegal activity, and it's just not acceptable.
For the first time, officers can now issue firework citations on the spot, similar to a traffic ticket.
People think that they're going to get away with this stuff. No, they really need to think twice because it's a lot easier to enforce.
The law also increases criminal penalties. If illegal fireworks seriously injure someone or cause death, charges can rise to a Class A felony, carrying up to 20 years in prison and fines up to $25,000. Another major change, accountability now extends beyond the person lighting the fuse.
Homeowners are now liable. So even if, you're that uncle that just doesn't want to bum everybody's trip, if your family members come over and they're lighting up on your property, we could open an investigation against you. Everybody has to be held accountable. So if you're a parent and you're letting your kids pop, your fault. If you're hosting a party and you let them pop, you're responsible.
DLE and HPD will also use drones to identify violators while the state continues cracking down at the ports. Officials have intercepted more than 40 tons of illegal fireworks this year alone.
Due to the population and the density, the likelihood for tragedy is high. There is no Band-Aid in the world that's going to stop what these fireworks can do to the human body. What we're trying to do is avoid tragedies this year.
Officials say legal professional fireworks shows like in Waikiki, Ko'olina, and Waikai are the best and safest way to bring in 2026. And they're urging the public to remember this.
Fireworks can last seconds, but the consequences can last much longer.
Law enforcement agencies say people should not expect any leniency, and anyone that's caught could face fines or jail time. Nikki Schoenfeld, KHO12 News, working for Hawaii.
Well, New Year's Eve just a few days away, and government.
All right, so there you go. How's it trailed us? That's exactly right. We are talking about things that go boom, basically. And here's what oh good, Terry in Scotland's GoFundMe had found out that his little pension that helps him keep the lights on after a festive holiday season that made him go a smidge over his budget. He did have to have a GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe hit the bank, and payday is Friday. You made it. Oh, you're super stoked. You are super stoked. You are more stoked than my coworker. Well, we'll talk about that later, but I'm very happy to hear you. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed some things here, but I was making note, and this is the third time I've watched this news clip. So, I don't know if you heard this, but part of the law changes, they said, were the cops can now write tickets for infractions on the spot. Well, if they were illegal before, what the were they doing? Are you telling me they couldn't write tickets on the spot? Then what was the point in having it illegal? What did they have to do before the law changed this year? So, okay, fireworks are illegal, but cops can't write you a ticket for shooting them off. Well, then what did they do? I mean, if there was such a lack of teeth to the law, no wonder so many people were like, yeah, this law is meaningless. This law just is on paper. There's literally no means for enforcing the law. Like, I mean, now there is. They can write you a ticket, like a traffic ticket. But before that, like last year, if a cop pulled up on you and you lit a firework, what? Would the cop just have to be like, well, I have to witness you light 5 more before I get to write a ticket? I mean, what was the parameter? That just seems like it makes no sense. And as much as I don't particularly enjoy a surveillance state type of policing mentality, to me, drones are the perfect use for catching fireworks. I mean, after all, fireworks, you are quite literally shooting off a notification into the air where you are and that you're doing something illegal. So, fireworks in theory should be some of the easiest things to enforce. It's not like you're dressed all in black, and it's not like you've got, black face paint on so you don't, and you're moving in the shadows and you're wearing leather gloves to break into someone's safe to steal their stuff. Like, that's sneaky. fireworks is the opposite of sneaky in my perception. And then e-music before, let's see here. Before they didn't give out tickets. Afterwards, they gave tickets to professional fireworks. Wait, what? Okay, and so now, no, the cops had to actually witness the person actually light it, so the cops couldn't cite the illegals. Okay. Well, I'm really glad that they have changed it, because seriously, it doesn't, because, and ultimately I'm glad that they've sort of expanded their looking towards not just the person with the lighter in the hand lighting the stuff, but for real, the homeowner. All of these people need to be held accountable, because you can't light off the fireworks unless you've got a place to light off the fireworks. And I'm not going to lie, you guys, I am a huge fan of fireworks, professional and done in the middle of the street. But I also live in an area that is not nearly as densely populated as most of the city of Honolulu is. I mean, sure, there are tons of places out a little further that have some elbow room. But seriously, where that tragedy happened last year, there's no way in hell you would have found me being in a fireworks display or lighting off fireworks anywhere near that type of crowded area. I mean, oh my God. When I look at some of these close-up views, I mean, it's one thing to see the entire island lit up, right? You know, and it's like, ooh, that's kind of pretty, kind of scary. But then when you like sort of zone in and you're like, here's this neighborhood, and look at all of the houses and all of the rooftops that are practically touching, and all of the streets that are really narrow, and all of the little cul-de-sacs, and like all of the people that are way too close to the explosions, that is disturbing to me, right? And let's see here. Rick, though, coming in, just writing a ticket might not mean much if the courts are overcrowded and fines don't get enforced for months and months. Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, my best guess is if they want your money, they'll find a way to get you in. And yeah, exactly. They're finally enforcing. And did the governor say he's exposing peeps publicly? Wow, finally. Honestly, I don't actually understand what the controversy for that is. I mean, when you get arrested, that's public record, right? I mean, I guess just a ticket is a different story, so I suppose that's maybe where the line is drawn. But I don't know, dude. To me, it seems like that's exactly the kind of effective policing that's going to work is public shaming. It's like, look, you know, these people all got big fines because they broke the law. Don't be like them next year. Don't be like, you know, the big five, you know, or whatever, you know. I don't think that that's a really a bad idea, because the thing is you know, public shaming on one hand is sort of barbaric, but when it comes to something like this, where you're literally trying to make a cultural shift, okay? Literally trying to make a cultural shift, you've got to use all the tools available at your disposal. I mean, it's one thing, it's like, you know, we all know that being a cat burglar and breaking into people's houses to steal their jewelry, like, we all know that's wrong. And so, and most people don't do it. And most people don't know someone who does it. So public shaming a cat burglar is really sort of almost like giving him fame. But like, if everybody's uncle is up there and it's like, oh, that, if everybody's miscreant uncle that's like, oh, uncle, you know, you're always the one. Oh, you're always the one that brings shame, uncle. That, I feel like it might be a little bit more effective than just the threat of the ticket. And Darlene, Darlene's all getting on my soapboxes, and I love that we've got soapboxes for everybody to get on. Darlene, let me give some voice to Darlene's soapbox. It really freaks out the animals too, though. I saw a cat going ballistic. Hold on, wait. Going ballistic, running across the street one year, just petrified, not sure which way to run. And that doesn't count the fact, hold on, everybody's talking stuff. And that doesn't count the fact that people partying and maybe under the influence and shouldn't be lighting fireworks. They're explosive and can do harm, injury. Okay, I'm done ranting. No, for real, Darlene, you are 100% right. In fact, as a child, I did often wonder, so growing up in my neighborhood, like we did the fireworks in the streets, etc. But we also, every house had a hose. Every house had a bucket of water at the ready. Every house had a hose that was running off in their yard. Every house was vaguely prepared for some kind of injury, you know? And only the adults were allowed to light the fireworks off. All of this sounds great on the surface. However, even as a child, I was like, wait. The adults have been drinking all day. Maybe it would be better if, like, the 12-year-olds light the fireworks or the 14-year-olds light the fireworks. They're old enough to be safe, but they haven't been drinking all day. So even within the safest of the safest families that tried to do a lot of precautions, there was still some huge holes in their safety guidelines. One of which is, you've been drinking all day. What makes you think you should be lighting off an explosive with all these children around? But luckily, no drunk ever lost their fingers. No kids ever got exploded in my neighborhood, and that was good. But yes, Terry, they were hosers, I guess. And exactly, Rick, a 14-year-old is way quicker on their feet. Totally. And trust me, a 14-year-old, at least in the early to mid 80s, a 14-year-old, yeah, trust me, they've used a lighter before. They know how to light things, okay? And yeah, you know, the funny thing is, you guys are talking about they seized 40 tons. And yeah, trail dust, I'm sure the horses are not fond of fireworks. Absolutely. And they did say 40 tons is what they got. What they seized was 40 tons. But honestly, like Nani Aloha is saying, I don't think that 40 tons is... 40 tons is a drop in the hat, right? I mean, we will, I guess, I'm very curious to see what happens this New Year's on Honolulu, because I know that over this past year, they had fireworks buybacks, and those buyback programs were very successful. So it does seem like the cultural shift is finally starting to seep down. And the reason why I keep talking about the cultural shift, it really has nothing to do with the culture of fireworks. It has everything to do with the culture of culture. If you really, watch the scheme of things and see how things works, laws do not change behavior. The culture and the expectation in that culture changes behavior. There might be laws against the behavior, but until the culture's attitude changes towards that behavior is not going to change. We see it with fireworks here in Honolulu. We've seen it with the drug crisis. Back in the 80s, drugs were a no-go. Weed was the devil. Well, now, 30, 40 years later, suddenly those drug laws have all been switched up because they realized they were barking up the wrong trees. And in a lot of places, weed is now not just legal for medicine, but legal. The culture changed the laws. The laws did not change the culture. People still smoked weed when it was against the law. People still lit off fireworks when it was against the law. Only once the culture changes does the behavior change. And so I'm very curious to see if there's even going to be any kind of noticeable difference in firework usage this year, because it does seem like there is a major cultural shift. On the other hand, the fireworks epidemic on the islands is so huge. I just wonder, even if 30% of the people have decided no fireworks for me this year. Like, is that, are we even gonna notice, you know? And trailed us, it will be below 0 tonight, not expected to hear any fireworks tonight. Well, if you do, you know, cold air, those sounds travel quicker or further in cold air, so if you do, it might not be fireworks very close to your house, and hopefully they won't be very loud. And let's see here. Nani saying, I remember Andy saying they were elated that they seized 20 tons of illegal crazy stuff. Then it was like, what do we do with it? No, exactly. I mean, do you set it off? Do you sell it to the legitimate market? Do you dissolve them in water? Do you, what do you do? And hey, Shot, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here for a minute, even if you're at a gathering. Oh, pardon me. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Your youngest sister dress caught on fire when we were at a fireworks party. She started running. Oh no. Your father had to tackle her to put out the fire. E-music, I don't mean to laugh at that, but hadn't she ever heard the phrase stop, drop, and roll? Because I know that I don't know, maybe this isn't that normal, but when I was a little kid, it really was like a lesson that they really made sure that we tried to know a year in and year out. The stop, drop, and roll protocol was reminded of to us in early elementary school. And I mean, you have to wonder, it's like, how often are people catching on fire? But I guess it doesn't really matter how often. It's just like, look, if and when it happens, there's an easy way to deal with this. Stop, drop, and roll. Oh, she was too young and she didn't know stop, drop, and roll. But the funny, okay, not funny, but even if she was old enough, though, the thing is, and as much as they try to pound it into your head as the protocol, I can only assume that even though I know about stop, drop, and roll, I know about it. I'm sitting here making fun of your sister for not doing it, right? I know about it. But I do have to ask myself, if you caught on fire, wouldn't you panic and start to run? I mean, I know better. I know better. But would I know better in the moment? In the moment when I'm on fire and suddenly panic is panicking, would I know to stop, drop, and roll? Right? So, yeah, there is that. I am glad though to hear that she was okay. Right. Who wants to stop rock and roll? Stop. No, it's not stop rock and roll. It's stop, drop, and roll. And you need to drop it like it's hot. Cause here's the deal, yo. You're hot. If you on fire, you hot as hell. Oh, you're the hottest thing in the room if you're on fire. No one can touch your hotness. So yeah, you better drop it like it's hot, like you hot. And let's see here. Last year, the deaths of those people were a shock to everyone. Exactly. And the giant explosion of one house was seen so far around the island. Sad, but really tragic. That can and did happen. Boom, death. Yeah, unfortunately, Elaine, that is exactly why I sort of think, I think that what happened last year is a big enough of a shock that I feel as though it obviously is a catalyst of change. And I'm just very curious what 1 year of mourning the loss, thinking, and I just want to see what 1 year difference is going to make, because I do have a feeling it will. It does seem like, from what I've seen from the news clips, that people aren't just so casual about fireworks anymore. They're maybe realizing they're, I don't know, bombs. Really pretty bombs. And let's see, your trailed us as a kid. We were taught to stop, drop, and roll. Now I stop, drop, and roll because of clumsiness. There you go. There you go. And Terry in Scotland coming in with the weather. 38 in Scotland, 39 in Seattle. That is what my car said when I was there out running errands earlier. But it's not just 39 in Seattle, it is foggy. Foggy. It's very foggy here in Seattle tonight. But it's not 18 degrees, and I'm glad about that, because that's what it is in Milwaukee. Screw that. 22 degrees in Toronto, also screw that. I'll be staying inside being cozy when it's those kind of degrees. And when it's 76 out in Honolulu, well, I just might go and light some fireworks. No, I wouldn't. And let's see here. We have brought up to our children and grandchildren with going up north at campfires and such that we've endlessly talked about dropping and rolling with fire. And if you're on fire, but so true, when in a panic, it's scary. You can forget the training when the panic hits in. Exactly. And so I'm sitting here just like pointing a finger at this young child who'd never even been taught stop, drop, and roll, knowing full and well that I've been taught stop, drop, and roll, and in a panic, I might not do it. So yeah, fresh, oh no, 18 degrees with a fresh 1 inches of snow you had to shovel. Oh no, and 5 degrees in your chunk of Minnesota. Oh no, that's so chilly, y'all. That is just, that's the kind of, well, those are the kind of temperatures you see in January. Oh wait, we're almost in January, aren't we? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday, so good to see you. Just dropping in to say Happy New Year to everyone. 13 degrees in Michigan. Snow just ended. Hoo-wee, you know, obviously I was taught wrong, but when I was a little kid, I was told, and maybe it's true for Seattle, I was told that 18 degrees it's too cold to snow. And so let's see here. We've got 13 degrees. Snow just ended. I believe I was lied to as a child, because I was always taught that snow doesn't happen in such chilly weather. I don't know why my parents told me that, but they did. So yeah, all right. I guess it can snow in 13 degree weather. Did you know that I don't really want to have 13 degree weather? Just so y'all know. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we had some 13 degree weather. We had some Minnesota weather up here in the Pacific Northwest that was not our usual. And I'll tell you what, man, the plumbers loved it, because at the end of that cold snap, oh, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. You'd drive by these driveways and you could just see like, oh, their pipe burst, because once it started to thaw, and started to thaw is generous, you know, because it was still cold enough to freeze, just enough to thaw the pipes so they could burst, and then the water would be pouring down the driveway and then freezing on the driveway and turning the driveway into an ice rink. And so either way, my point is, every house that you drove by with an ice rink for a driveway, you knew, oh, they gonna need to call a plumber. They gonna need to call a plumber soon. Oh yeah. And let's see here. Don't want 13 degree weather? Then don't open the present I sent you. Uh-oh. That sounds like a threat. And Terry, your parents told you that too. Okay, well, maybe Americans are just stupid. But, you know, my mom was Canadian, though, so she should have known better. And E-Music, it snows here with negative 25. No. I don't acknowledge that temperature even exists. So I'm not sure you're telling me the truth, because I'm not sure there is such a thing as negative 25. I'm fairly certain there's no such thing as negative 25. That's just not where I want to be. Obviously, I know there's such thing as negative 25, but no way. And Winnipeg doesn't get much snow, but it sticks around. I would imagine that Winnipeg gets that dry snow that like flies all over the place. Whereas in Washington, in Western Washington, we get the wet snow. And so it just sort of falls and stays there in a lump. and then it freezes to ice, and then it becomes an icy lump. Yeah. And this snow turned to ice on the car windshield. I spent way too much time chipping it off. Now, Rick, is there a reason why you just don't go in and start the car and put the heater on to help chip it? Or do you do that and you still spent a lot of time chipping the ice windshield off? The ice off the words are hard. Anyway, it got so cold in Glasgow. Oh no, wait, what? Wait, hold on, Terry. Okay, now I'm confused. So cold weather people, help me out here. Terry just said it got so cold in Glasgow last night that Beatty Bo got a gas leak in his kitchen. Explain to me what one has to do with the other. I mean, I'm not arguing that it does, but what do the pipes contract that the gas can leak from the joints? How does a coldness lead to a gas leak? And hey, Fleet Pete VFL, Happy New Year, y'all. I don't know if you've been lurking for a long time or if this is the first time you've ever been here, but welcome to Chatter with Statter. We are known for talking about a whole lot of nothing, although right now we're talking about the weather, so that's kind of boring. But we're also talking about how gas leaks apparently can happen in cold weather. And so if you've got any kind of opinion about anything, or if you've got an idea about, like, I want to talk about crunchy peanut butter, we can do that too. And so welcome in, Happy New Year. And cold pipes contract, and yes, leaks can occur. Well, that's gotta suck, because I'm guessing, and I obviously don't know, but I'm guessing if he has gas, then his home is probably heated with gas. But if you've got a gas leak, you need to turn the gas off, which means you don't get to have heat in your home, and your home is already so cold that the pipes are contracting. And then how do you keep your water pipes warm enough not to burst? Well, that just seems like a nightmare upon a nightmare. Let's see here. You just put more wood in the wood stove. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you are here, Fleet Pete. I'm not sure how you found us. But just so you know, we generally talk about Hawaii-oriented things and Puget Sound, Seattle-oriented things. I'm located in the Pacific Northwest, but was born in Hawaii. Most of us here have some kind of Hawaii fondness and or connection to. And so, oh, okay, you noticed through Photo Luke. Okay, so you obviously have a connection to Hawaii as well. Fantastic. You are going to be just part of the crew. And you think, okay, yes, Rick, you've ID'd Fleet Pete just fine, because he came in as I am from Photo Luke's ship. All right, there we go. And let's see here, Beanie Bo. Yeah, I think Trail Dust, you should move your computer so you can sit in the rocker in front of the wood stove. And if the appliance is leaking, just shut off that supply. Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to know, Rick. And then Terry in Scotland, he called the emergency number. Good plan. I spoke to him this afternoon and he's okay. He's out getting drunk now. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, speaking of getting drunk. Oh, no. Wait, did I? Oh, no. I didn't load this up. All right, well, speaking of getting drunk, I'm going to load something up. But while I load something up, we're already 1 minute past our Lono listening break. And so why don't we listen to some Lono? And then I have a little meme, I think, or I don't know if it's a meme. I've got a thing about getting drunk. We're going to watch it. But let's listen to Lono first. Boop.
Ah, sei. Que verso, if you got him. Elena, toma bom bom, go toma bom bom, Elena. Elena, toma bom bom, go toma bom bom, Elena. Elena, toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elenita toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. En calota ya de coco yo saboda de gambresa. Elenita toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. En calota ya de coco yo saboda de gambresa. Elenita toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Bom bom Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom. ¡Opa! Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Mira que de puro gusto, a mí me gusta la plena. El ame pero yo dulce, yo la daba como Melena. Mira que de puro gusto, a mí me gusta la plena. El ame pero yo dulce, yo la daba como Melena. Bom bom, Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom. ¡Opa! Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. En la calle de la Karma estaban cantando plena, cantando la rica plena de Elena. En la calle de la Karma estaban cantando plena, cantando la rica plena de Elena. Bom bom, Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. Watch it. Elena toma bom bom, con toma bom bom Elena. All right, Sustain J, Mo Mike, Susan R. Cool, all in the key of it. Hello.
All right, you know what? I don't speak French, but I do know a lot of the words to Alouette, Jante Alouette, Jante Poumere. All right, I guess someone can sing a song and not know how to speak. I still think it's very funny that Lono has so many songs that he has written in Hawaiian. He's written them in Hawaiian, and he says that he doesn't know how to speak Hawaiian. It's not even a case of him learning the songs. He's written songs that are written in Hawaiian. But, all right. And what, Farajaka? I don't know Farajaka. All I can think, isn't Farajaka? That's the one where you're killing the bird for dinner. Isn't that what Farajaka is? Farajaka? I don't even remember. Anyway, all right. I don't even remember what I was talking about. All right. So, yeah, everyone knows that one. Exactly. That's all I know, basically. But everyone knows that one. So we were talking about getting drunk because Baby Bo had good reason to get drunk tonight. Not only is it New Year's Eve, of course, but he had a technical stressor of major proportions. Might as well go get drunk. And here is, I don't plan on making this my life goal tonight, but at the same time, I would not be opposed to this. This made me laugh really hard when I saw it last night, so I'm sharing it with you. Hey bartender, let me get 3 shots of Grey Goose. Or is it Grey Geese? Oh, F it. Just give me a flock of vodka. A flock of vodka. I like it. A flock of vodka. You know, you can have a flight of, a tasting flight. I don't need a tasting flight. I know what I want. I want a flock of vodka. That is what I'm gonna go get tonight. A flock of vodka. And exactly, Darlene, that's what I was trying to say. I think Lono knows more than he think he knows. Yes. You want a flock of seagulls? Okay. And then, Fleet Pete, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna run so far away? And you'll run. You could not get away. You couldn't get away. And your hair's gonna get all funny? Is that what it is? That's what you're gonna do? All right, there we go. It sounds like a plan. And you'll have 12 buds, please, barkeep, says Terry. I will have a bouquet of buds, says Terry in Scotland. A full bouquet of buds. That's what you want. I want a flock of vodka, and you want a bouquet of buds. There, now that we know what we're going to be drinking tonight on New Year's Eve. Or I guess New Year's Day for Terry in Scotland, because after all, he is in Scotland. At least that's what I've heard. And let's see here. Yes, Lono knows a lot of Spanish, as he told me he used to speak to the vaqueros on the ranch. Yes, there you go. That makes sense. And he spent some time in Mexico, actually, too. And in Southern California, crossing the border back and forth. So he definitely knows how to speak a little bit of Spanish. Regardless of whether or not he admits it, I do know that he does know how to speak. Let's see here. Your daughter and son-in-law love the Polish orange vodka we gave them. He said great for mimosas. Yum. And the closest I've been to being drunk was in Hawaii. Oh no, wait, what? Oh. Don't rant at us after your 12 buds. Yes. Really? So, Trail Dust, is it that you don't normally get drunk because you don't normally drink? Or is it that you've got such high tolerance that you can drink and not get drunk, but you drank so much in Hawaii that you almost got drunk? I feel like either could be true of you. I'm not going to say which one is me, because I'm pretty sure all y'all know I've been known to tipple a time or two. And let's see here. All right, so dang figures, gonna try it on the rocks too, says Darlene. I knew what you meant. All right, you guys, so this is New Year's Eve, and it's actually kind of or in the United States still, this is New Year's Eve. And today, New Year's Eve today, is actually somewhat of a significant date to people in my generation. I am talking about something that we're all vaguely familiar with. Some of us a little bit more familiar with it than others. Some of us literally grew up on it in our pop cultural senses. And I am talking about MTV, music television. As of midnight tonight, I'm not sure if it's East Coast time or West Coast time, MTV is off the air. MTV started in 1981, and they are officially pulling the plug as of December 31st, 2025. The company itself isn't dissolving. They're just going to be going in very different directions, more online content, etc. But as far as the television channels that they spawned and that we were used to, MTV is basically no longer in existence. After 44 years, they're pulling the plug. And even though I have not watched MTV in decades, I have to say, not only have I not watched it in decades, I kind of thought that MTV already was off of the air. But finding out now that no, it was not off the air, and it is, and now it is, and this is the day, I feel a twinge of nostalgia and sadness, because MTV, I was probably 10 years old when we got MTV at my house. So literally, 10 years old is kind of when you're coming into yourself as a pre-teenager, you're shedding your childhood ways, you're growing at the, it's the very beginning stages of the person that you're going to end up being, starts to sort of, come out in when you're 10ish, that just, the prepubescent years, puberty, and it really is, it really is an important time of your life. And so from 10 until I graduated, and even through college, MTV was, everybody watched MTV. That was a cultural touchstone upon which everybody my age had a reference point to. I mean, everybody, well, maybe not everybody, because not everybody had cable, but almost everybody had cable, and everybody who had cable had MTV. And so, and Fleet, you bring up a very good point. As we knew it, it wasn't like that, and it hadn't been like that for a very long time. Precisely. Absolutely. It hasn't been the MTV that we've known for a very long time. Now, see, Total Request Live is actually, for me, after my era. My era was was the most requested videos, which was different than Total Request Live. The most requested videos every day, they had them, basically they watch, we would, when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I remember this very well. When I was in 7th and 8th grade, I would come home from school and watch the top 10 most requested videos of the day, countdown. And the number one video of the day for months upon months upon months upon months was Motley Crue's Home Sweet Home. It was the number one requested video of the day for so long that eventually MTV had to change the rules of the show, the most requested video, to include anything. It can only be number one for 90 days. After it's 90 days, it's no longer allowed to be on the chart. So they actually had to change the rule because of that. And then eventually, after they changed that rule, the top 10 requested videos ended. There was a couple years, and then Total Request Live came in. But what was it? Carson Daly, I think, was the host of Total Request Live. And by the time Total Request Live came about, I was in college, and I was not watching MTV or the most requested videos. It was kind of, the music had kind of altered from the glam rock and goth that I had grown up with, to more hip-hop oriented dance music stuff that wasn't really my scene, and grunge, and then which was my scene, but I wasn't watching Total Request Live. The funny thing, Total Request Live is what so many people think of with MTV, and for me it's like, that's actually second generation MTV. I was all about, what was it, so Martha Stewart, Alan Jackson, I think his name was, Mark Goodman, Nina Blackwood, those were my VJs. And then Downtown Julie Brown came in, and she was sort of, new, which I realize she's totally, classic MTV at this point. But yeah, and just out of curiosity, does anybody really know why Downtown Julie Brown from MTV had to be called Downtown Julie Brown? I'll let you talk amongst yourselves for a moment while I sip off my Super Suckers coffee, and then I will let you know in case you don't get it. All right, well, screw that lag time. I'm sure you all know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. There used to be a comedian, actress, singer named Julie Brown. And shortly before Downtown Julie Brown came about on the MTV scene, Julie Brown had a success as a guest VJ, but also she had a... this is where the 80s and now are very different. She had a song that was kind of successful. It was a comedy song, and it was about the homecoming queen's got a gun. Everybody run, the homecoming queen has got a gun. Stop Debbie from making a mess. You know, she got the blood all over my dress. It's, it's not a song they would make today. But back in the 80s, it was a funny song. It was a funny song. It's funny. It was a funny song. Anyway, I don't think they play that song anymore. But right before Downtown Julie Brown got onto MTV, Julie Brown, the comedian, had her own shtick, and so in order to, differentiate the two of them, I mean, they could have done the one thing. It's like, oh, white Julie Brown or black Julie Brown. Yeah, how about you don't do that one? Because that one of them was white, one of them was black. But that's not. So instead, the lady from England got to be called Downtown Julie Brown, and the white lady from America got to be called Julie Brown. And that's how that worked. And let's see here. City TV started all the music videos, started all of the music TV. Blech, let's try this one more time. Woo-wee. Pinnell writes, City TV started all of the music videos on TV, bragging here. So City TV, I knew that Canada's version of MTV was Much Music, but City TV, it sounds like, was before Much Music, and even before MTV, it sounds like. I didn't know that. I know that there was video shows, that were, like, for a while, my cable company didn't carry MTV, so instead I would have to watch, WTBS, Atlanta Superstation, WTBS, Night Tracks, or Night Flight, which I think was on CBC. That was a Canadian show. There was all sorts of like late night video shows on Friday and Saturday nights, and that's what I would watch before I got my MTV. So it sounds like those City TV had music videos at night in the 80s. Well, right, but MTV came out in 1981, so was City TV even before that? Because I do know that there were videos that were being made for music, for individual songs, before MTV came about. Obviously there were, otherwise MTV wouldn't have had anything to play when they first came out. And Trail Dust has to scamper, but he doesn't scamper like he used to. Isn't that true for all of us, Trail Dust? Isn't that true for all of us? Hence the reason that maybe 14-year-olds should be lighting off fireworks instead of their drunk adult counterparts. But I do have to wonder, and I'm sure it's already been decided what it's going to be. I do have to wonder, though, with MTV closing its doors tonight, what is going to be the last thing that they show? What's the last video, the last segment, the last whatever? What's going to be the last thing they show? I almost hope it's the one that they started with. And I know that it makes no sense because it doesn't exactly fit, but it kind of does. And are you all familiar with what the very first video on MTV was? And if you aren't, we will discuss it in a second. But it does seem like it would be exactly Fleet Pete It seems like the Buggles song, Video Killed the Radio Star. Video killed the radio star. What a perfect first video for MTV. But isn't it also the perfect last video? It's not video that killed the radio star, but it's online streaming killed the video star. It's just a song about the next generation of media, canceling out the previous one. And that's exactly why MTV is going out of business. Is we're no longer watching television. We're now online. And so I have to wonder, are they going to do what seems like the most perfect cherry on top? Right? And Money for Nothing came out many years after MTV started. In fact, Money for Nothing was probably one of the first computer animated videos that ever existed. As janky as it looks now, that video was groundbreaking when it first came out. I hated that song. In fact, that song is really one of the reasons why I don't like saying I like Dire Straits, because it sort of pains me to say I don't like Dire Straits, because Dire Straits has some really good music, but that Money for Nothing song got overplayed so much that it really gave me an aversion to that band, similar to Don't Come Around Here No More by Tom Petty. I hated that song. I still hate that song. I love Tom Petty, but Don't Come Around Here No More needs to not come around here no more. Okay? I just don't even... and then the video actually was kind of creepy and cool, but the song was just annoying. And that's exactly right. Internet killed the video star. That's it. And Pinnell, it's hard to make music as a musician now. Streaming services pay a pittance. Not only do streaming services pay a pittance, Snoop Dogg literally pulled all of Snoop Dogg, just so you know, owns Death Row Records now. And Snoop Dogg literally, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, pulled all of Death Row's catalog off of Spotify because Spotify doesn't pay. And Snoop is just like, I'm not seeing the money. I'm not seeing the money. My artists aren't seeing the money. So you don't get our work, Spotify. We do not have an agreement with you. If you are using Death Row music on your lists, you are breaking. We have no contract with you anymore. Because streaming services absolutely don't pay anything. It's very, very, very difficult to be a music fan these days and get your music ethically. That's one of the reasons why actually I have been and continue to be such a proponent of buying music from lonomusic.com. It is at this point the most ethical way you can possibly purchase music directly from the artist who created it. It goes to where it needs to go to. Period. End of story. But for the most, buy direct from the artist. That's kind of what you have to do. And if you don't do that, then what you need to do is you need to go see the artist live when they're touring. Because basically touring is the only way they make money. And by the way, touring doesn't make you money. Touring, you break even. You make money off of the merchandise that you sell while you're touring. That is ultimately how bands make money these days, is through their merchandising. That's how they actually, they can cover their costs through touring, but to actually make extra bank and profit, it's all about the merchandising these days. And so it's so frustrating. And Fleet P, thank you so much. This is I've been a fan of live music for my whole life, and it's just such a shame to see how it has gotten this way. And this kills me to admit, but I don't know if you remember when Napster first came about, And Napster was a music sharing program that could allow you to hook into other people's computers and grab their music, and they could grab your music. And it was a music sharing program. And Lars Ulrich from Metallica lost his bloody flippin' mind over this. He sued anybody and anything that he could have over Napster. He was so anti-Napster. And every single person thought he was a little bit nuts for it. He really lost a lot of street cred. He lost a lot of he's just a selfish musician. I thought so. He was a visionary. He saw what was coming. He was right. And let me just tell you right now, I don't like to admit Lars Ulrich was right. I don't like Lars Ulrich. He's a spoiled little tennis-playing miniature drummer who only got to be what he was because his parents were so flippin' rich, they could buy him the biggest drum set on the planet. I don't like Lars Ulrich. I'm not a big fan of Metallica, but I really don't like Lars Ulrich. But boy, howdy, he was right. He was right. Fleet, I don't know you, but I love you. Who likes anyone named Lars? Kinda, right? So all I know is, as wrong and as much as we made fun of that little drummer boy for so many years ago, he now, looking at the state of music and the state of how people get paid or not, dude, he was so on point. He saw what was coming. And that makes me annoyed that he was right. Exactly. Darlene is saying, and that's why even Photo Luke now says, support the musician, the group, go directly to their site and support there. Yeah, that's exactly it. And you really, it sucks that, oh, Fleepy, did you just follow? Thank you so much. Dude, we're stoked. No, it is so frustrating that it's so frustrating that you have to almost be political with your music purchasing, but it really does help to be mindful of, why are you paying Spotify? Spotify didn't do anything. Spotify didn't create nothing. The only thing Spotify created was a flippin' playlist. You could have done that on a blank tape for free for your best friend in the 80s. They just created you a mixtape. That's all Spotify did. That's all Spotify does. Why is Spotify getting the money? And then, you know what Spotify does? They don't keep track of Mariah Carey got played 4 times and Snoop Dogg got paid 7 times and blah, 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 and then they divide it all equally. No, they don't. That's not how they do it. That's not how they calculate the payouts at all. They're like, well, this guy gets the majority of airplay, so he just gets the majority of the money. And those people that only got 4 or 5 plays, well, that might as well have been 0 plays, kind of thing. And last music you bought was a CD. A CD? What's wrong with a CD? I still buy CDs. As a general rule, I don't like buying downloads because downloads are easy to lose. I can buy a CD, upload it onto my machine, and if somehow it gets distorted, corrupted, or lost because I upgraded my computer and I forgot to bring all my music with me, I still have the music. So I'm all about buying the CD. And let's see here, Trail Dust, hard to figure out what t-shirts we are inventing tonight. Trail Dust, I don't know if you were here when Darlene came up with a really, really good t-shirt. And it was, it's a little esoteric to explain, but it was a reference to the Disney movie Ants and how the grasshoppers are afraid of they're not afraid of the ants, but they're afraid that the ants might realize that there's more ants than grasshoppers, and the ants will then turn on the grasshopper. And so Darlene was all, be a part of the anti-solution. But instead of ANTI, it's ANTY, anti-solution. And I thought that would make a good t-shirt. I mean, only like 5 people in the world would understand what it was about, but I still liked it. I thought it would be a good t-shirt. And Pinnell, you've never used any streaming services? I mean, I've been exposed to streaming services, and I think I like tried Spotify out for a couple hours once, trying to figure out what it was. But no, as a general rule, I've never paid for a streaming service that much, or a music streaming service. I pay for Hulu, I pay for Netflix. Okay, I do pay for streaming services, but not music streaming services. And let's see here. I saw a podcast with Richard Marx, and this kid who had a hot song with over 1 million streams. Back in the day, you could get rich off one hit. Not in today's world. That's exactly it. And let's see here. Pinnell, even though I was in the 70s and 80s in my younger years, I do like a lot of different genres of music. And Pinnell saying, I do too, Darlene. Which I will admit, streaming services like Spotify are brilliant at exposing you to new and different bands. That is not the dark side of Spotify. That's the beautiful side of Spotify. It exposes you to things that you might not have ever heard. But how about then you go seek them out and buy them? Because Spotify ain't paying those people that you like. They're just not. And let's see here. I have to get me a t-shirt like that. Auntie. Rick, if only 5 understand, then it's perfect. And let's see here. Terry in Scotland coming in with all sorts of information. Spotify has attracted significant criticism since its 2006 launch. The primary point of criticism centers around what artists, music creators, and the media have described as unsustainable compensation. Unlike physical sales or legal downloads, both of which were in the main medium of listening to music at the time, which pay artists a fixed amount per song or album sold, Spotify pays royalties based on their market share of the number of streams for their songs as a proportion of total songs streamed on the service. Exactly. So those of you who got 5 streams aren't getting paid nothing. In a different world, those of you who got 5 downloads would have been paid something. It might have only been 25 cents at 5 cents per download, but it was still something. Whereas Spotify, you get 5 streams and you get nothing because you're nothing. You are just nothing. Spotify distributes approximately 70% of its total revenue to rights holders who will then pay artists based on their individual agreements. Yeah. And it's always, so Spotify distributes approximately 70% of its total revenue to rights holders who will then pay their artists. People like Snoop Dogg, who is the owner of Death Row Records, specifically has said, yeah, we're not seeing the money. And I find it hard to believe that Death Row Records doesn't have some sort of market share in a Spotify. Well, back when Death Row Records was allowed on Spotify, I find it hard to believe that the artists that Death Row was having weren't getting plays on Spotify. Because let me just tell you, I have no doubt in my mind that Snoop Dogg is going to be a constant play. That he's still relevant musically today. People are asking for Snoop. People will be listening to a Snoop Dogg tune. And when someone with a market share, who also is a rights holder for other shareholders, is saying we're not seeing the money, that says to me Spotify is not paying anything. 0.004 cents per stream. That's ridiculous. All right, and then someone has listened to my song 1 million times, so I get $4,000 for that. $4,000 for 1 million listens. 1 million listens. $4,000 bucks. That's nothing. That's not okay. Not okay. And let's see here, Darlene, I got introduced to new musics from my daughters at first, then now starting to get some influence through your grandkids. It's good to keep an open mind. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Pinnell, wow, I get 5 cents per book sold. And I set the prices. Yeah, Pinnell, exactly. Let me just make it clear, y'all. Royalties are never a lot of money. Look at Pinnell right here, 5 cents per book. That's not unusual. But, Honey Bunches, 5 cents per book. And if you had 1 million books sold, that'd be like $200,000, dude. That's a big deal. I think it's 200,000, isn't it? That's a big deal, okay? Hold on. No, I'm a big liar. It's $50,000. Wow, I'm a big liar. Either $50,000 versus $4,000. Ridiculous. 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 I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. And you know what else is ridiculous? I don't think we talked much about food tonight. And you know what, Trail Dust? I'm about to talk about something that's completely strange. I'm about to talk about something that we don't normally talk about here at all. But I want to talk about the Seahawks. Because the Seahawks and the 49ers, we are going against each other Saturday, January 3rd at 5 p.m. And, let's see here. Hold on. Boom. No, boom. There we go. We started out Seahawks versus San Francisco. And then, at week one was San Francisco at the Seahawks. Week two, oh no, how did I do all this before? Week 2 was, who cares about week 2? And the last game of the season. The first game of the season was 49ers and Seahawks. The last game of the season is 49ers and Seahawks. And, there we go. That's what I'm trying to do. And, it kind of sucks though, because even though we've arrived at the last week of the 2025 NFL season, I'm reading off something here. Let's see here. Apparently the NFL, and this makes sense, likes to wait until the very end to schedule the games. And when scheduling the games, it's sort of a given, we thought, that the most popular and important games would be in the most prime time location. And if that was the case, then there would be no reason for us to be playing Saturday, January 3rd. Because yeah, we're in the same division, and it's for the division title. If the Seahawks lose this, they'll be 13-4, and if the 49ers win it, they'll be 13-4. And then they get to go into all of the fancy pants metrics to decide who actually is the winner and who gets the home field advantage, etc., and the bye week. And that's really cool, that we are in theory winning, but the game between Seahawks and 49ers is really important. Like, really important. And it makes no sense that they're on the Saturday game when basically people have noticed that it's a bummer that the Seahawks have been given this time slot, but it's also not a surprise because there's an East Coast bias, and lots and lots of people though are saying things like, this is kind of crappy for Seattle, to be honest. They'll be traveling back from the East Coast tonight, and they'll have to go on the road again on a short week to try to win their division and the number 1 seed. But the other game, so the Ravens, they get an extra day of rest after going 8-8 and Sunday night they'll go against the Steelers for a really boring game. because here's the deal, dude. This is the division. This is the Saturday night game, which really should be on the Sunday night. And it would have been a more fair timing wise, it would have been more fair to the teams playing for this game to be on Sunday. But instead, the number one game, the high spot number one game, the last game on Sunday night, the last game of the season, what should be the primest, most exciting game of the season, instead it's going to be the Ravens and the Steelers. You know, those mid-range teams that have lost 7 and lost 8 this season, and only won 8 or won 9. So they're this mid-range team that, yes, the AFC North apparently is just full of nothing but Midland. And so these two mid-range teams get to fight for their number one slot, one of which gets an extra day of rest, whereas the Seahawks get to play a short week. And this matchup is literally what the what the NFL, all of the NFL is interested in how this game is going to turn out. So, and then Rick, well, they already get an extra. Rick, if the Seahawks win this game, they get a bye week. They get a bye week. They get an extra week off, not just an extra one day off. If they win, they get an extra, they get home seat advantage or home field advantage, and they get a bye week, which is why the Seahawks and the 49ers, that game is so important. There's a lot riding on it. But my point is, as someone who is very, very new into the sports realm, I don't know what is normal, what is not, but I do get to hear a lot of old timers, bitching and moaning about the NFL, the refs. It's all a conspiracy. It's against them. It's blah 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 blah. And when you see stuff like that, like, it's easy to just be like, oh, stop being disappointed that your team lost. Stop being convinced it's a conspiracy against your team. Stop. But then you see stuff like this, and it's like, well, wait a second here. Because the last game of the regular season schedule was set last year. It doesn't sound like it was, though, Rick. It sounds like I was just reading about this. Here, let me see if I can get back to, where did it go? It sounded like dang it, this schedule was just scheduled. The timing of this. So let's see here. Okay, here we go. We have finally arrived at the last week of the 2025 NFL season. As they have the last several years, the league held off scheduling Week 18's slate of games so as to maximize viewership for the most important matchups with playoff implications. And so the most obvious move would have been to placing the Seahawks in the prime time on Sunday night against the San Francisco 49ers, which will decide the winner of the NFC West and the number one overall seed in the NFC. And so yeah, the matchups have been determined, but the schedule of, like, Week 18 is played on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, or actually just Saturday and Sunday, I guess. So they hadn't scheduled, yeah, sure, we already knew that we were going to be playing the 49ers at the 49ers on Week 18, but we didn't know, was it going to be a Saturday? Was it going to be a Sunday? Was it going to be a 1 p.m. game? Was it going to be a 5 p.m. game? That part hadn't been done yet. And so, and like the article that I read from just a second ago, they said that they haven't done that for the last several years. They have waited until the last minute to decide where how they're going to create the television schedule. And lo and behold, boom, the most exciting game of the entire NFL is not getting the most important slot. And it's moves like that, like I was saying, that like kind of it's like suddenly I can see, like, oh, I can kind of see why these hardcore fans are all paranoid about whatever. You know, I mean, they're paranoid about how their team is being picked on. And let me tell you, obviously I'm only hearing, you know, Seattle-based fans. I don't know if this is a thing all over the country, but trust me, dude, Seattle fans really do feel like the league is against them. Like, they really do feel like decisions are being made to put Seattle at a disadvantage. And the more I see stuff like this, the more I'm like, God, they're not as crazy as they used to sound to me. They have legit reasons to raise an eyebrow at, like, what? Are there shenanigans going on? Is there a shenanigan here? And speaking of shenanigans, and there we go, Shock. Don't get me started on refereeing in karate tournaments. Arr, 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 arr. All right, so we are 2 minutes past the hour, bottom of the hour, and we've missed a couple important topics, one of which is food. So we are going to wrap this all around here, right? A shenanigan that happens at the end of a lot of football games is the Gatorade gets poured over the coach. So here's my question for you guys. Let's see. For the Seattle 49er game, why not? I don't know. Let's do that one. What color Gatorade do you guys think is going to be poured on the coach? Because Gatorade comes in a bunch of different colors. And so apparently, Las Vegas, they actually have bets on the Super Bowl over what color people think the Gatorade's going to be. I'm going to say purple. See, we're sort of talking about. Okay, Rick says icy blue. All right, and Fleet Pete says red. Terry says green. Shock says whatever clashes the most with this shirt. Red, says Darlene. All right, there we go. So keep that in mind, and I'll see if I can remember to watch at the end of the game to find out. And see, I knew we could talk about food just for a half a second. All right, you guys, I want to thank you for hanging out. I want to wish you Happy New Year's and good vibes coming into 2026. We will see each other hopefully. Wait, what day is it today? Today's Wednesday. Wow. This whole week between the holidays kind of blends into each other. All right, so we will most likely see each other on Saturday at our Secret Squirrel Cinema at Map Statter on Twitch. That's right. We've got a new person in the house oh my God. Fleet Pete, you might not know about our Saturday hangouts. And on Saturday, we hang out on Twitch under an alternate channel called Map Statter, Map with a P. There's a reason for it, and if you show up on Saturday, I'll tell you. We watch movies at 6 p.m. West Coast time. And this Saturday, we are going to be watching Inside Out 2. And next Saturday, we're going to be watching This Is Spinal Tap. And so we might see each other then. And if we don't see each other then we'll see each other Sunday, 5 p.m. West Coast time, for our usual chat show where we can check in with each other and find out what did you do on New Year's, how's your New Year going, and something about food. I promise you, something about food. And you know what? We might even have a map as well. I don't know. I'm not promising. But we didn't have a map, and we didn't talk about food. And we didn't talk about orca whales. What do we do with ourselves today? We went overtime. That's what we did it. We went overtime. All right. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks so much for being here all year. I hope to see you next year. Take care. And rattle a pot in a pan at New Year's if you want. Okay. And Shock, don't apologize for overeating for 5 hours. Life goals. Take care, y'all. Have a good one.